I'm Remulla, standing in for Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa. And I'm Shawn Yao.
No bigger story tonight than Zaldy Co's arrest in the Czech Republic. The government says it's in close contact with the Czech authorities to bring him home, though his Portuguese passport presents a problem.
And it's going to be a long legal battle ahead for Zaldy Co when he returns to the Philippines. Aside from a string of cases over the flood control scandal, he is also expected to be questioned on budget insertions.
And the fugitive lawmaker is also wanted at the upper chamber. Zaldy Co will be summoned to testify at the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee along with Orly Guteza and the 18 alleged Marines.
Ang dapat tatanong dyan ay kung handa ba si Zaldy Co na magsabi ng katotohanan. Ang Pangulo, ulitin po natin, ang siyang nagsimulang magpa-imbestiga ng maanumalyang flood control projects. Ang Pangulo ay handang makinig sa lahat ng taong involved at dapat na managot sa batas.
Fireworks na yan. All bets are off. Di natin alam ano sasabihin niya.
Wala pa tayong
at least he will be under oath sa Sandigan. There will be more revelations in the coming weeks. The wheels of justice may be slow, but it grinds.
In the end, his complacency brought about his downfall. I'm talking, of course, about Zaldy Co, who, as most people know by now, was detained in Prague after traveling without proper documentation.
DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla said it appeared he grew complacent moving around the Schengen area without a passport. He was attempting to cross the border into Germany, but was detained and returned to the Czech border.
But in the absence of an extradition treaty with the Czech Republic, will the government be able to successfully bring Co back ASAP? Mobile journalist Amy Atienza with tonight's big story.
The international hunt for Zaldy Co has come to an end. The fugitive ex-lawmaker is now in the custody of authorities in the Czech Republic after being denied entry at the country's border with Germany. President Bongbong Marcos himself broke the news of Co's fate in a social media post the night of April 16. Marcos reported that Co was detained after traveling without proper documentation. The president did not elaborate, but in an interview on News 5 after the arrest, Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla narrated that Zaldy Co was apprehended as he was traveling without his Portuguese passport. Recall that due to Co's warrant of arrest, his Philippine passport had been cancelled months ago.
By car siya, mukhang by car from Portugal. Wala siya mag-present. Under international law, kung hindi pwedeng to follow dapat dala mo na siya. So dahil wala siyang dala, na-process na ang kanyang violation.
This is where the process of bringing Co back becomes unclear. Neither Malacanang nor the Department of Foreign Affairs has expounded on the matter outside of what President Marcos said. He said that the government is coordinating with their Czech counterparts to ensure that all legal processes are followed as they arrange for Co's return at the soonest possible time. But with Zaldy Co, a Portuguese passport holder, how will the Czech Republic choose to deport him? Would he be sent to the Philippines or to Portugal? The Philippines has no extradition treaty with the Czech Republic. An international law expert sees negotiation as one option.
Mas mabilis itong proseso na ito kasi nga ito ay administratibo lamang at hindi siya court-based na proseso, no? And there may be other aspects na pwedeng gawin din with the help of diplomatic cooperation with Czech Republic kung saan ang Philippine authorities will make sure that the transfer will be safe. And kung walang extradition treaty, bilateral cooperation can really facilitate this deportation.
Another option is through an Interpol red notice for Co's arrest, which the DILG said it completed the paperwork for last week. But this may become complicated if Zaldy Co applies for asylum.
Ang problema doon is he has to prove that it is a case of persecution because of the statements that he has made against the Philippine government. Pero ang sagot naman dyan ng gobyerno probably is that this is not a case of persecution but rather prosecution.
In the event the government succeeds in bringing Zaldy Co back, he will likely be turned over to the PNP and go straight to detention. He will also be processed just like any person wanted by the law before being presented before the Sandigan Bayan. Recall that it was the Sandigan Bayan that recommended a no bail for Zaldy Co given the gravity of the allegations against him and because he fled and became a fugitive. Co was also stripped of the right to file motions or question his cases until he surrenders and faces the court.
Fireworks na yan. All bets are off. Di na natin alam ano sasabihin niya.
wala pa
But
tayong
at least he will be under oath sa Sandigan. He is liable for perjury kung magsinungaling siya ron. Lilitisin siya, ipapakita ang ebidensya laban sa kanya, and he has a chance to defend himself also. There will be more revelations in the coming weeks. Makikita nyo. The justice, the wheels of justice may be slow, but it grinds.
Co is facing graft and malversation cases related to the substandard 289 million peso flood control project in Nauhan Oriental, Mindoro. It was contracted to Sunwest Incorporated, a company owned by Co. Co founded Sunwest Construction and Development Corporation in 1997 with his brother Christopher Co. In 2019, Co allegedly divested from Sunwest after winning as Ako Bicol Party List representative. He, however, remains its beneficial owner. This means Co still has interests and benefits from it. Last year, Co released a series of videos on his Facebook related to the flood control scandal. There, he revealed that he allegedly received orders from President Bongbong Marcos, former Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman, and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, supposedly related to 100 billion pesos worth of insertions in the 2025 national budget. Co also insisted that he was just used as a scapegoat in the flood control scandal. He also showed suitcases in the video that allegedly contained money delivered to President Marcos and Romualdez. Malacanang has strongly denied the allegation.
Nasabihin kung sino. Kung hindi natin sinasabing siya'y guilty. Kung sino ba yung kanyang mga nakasama natin, ang siyang nagsimulang magpa-imbestiga ng maanumalyang flood control projects. Siya ang nangunang magpa-imbestiga ng di umanong korupsyon. Ang Pangulo ay handang makinig sa lahat na maaaring sabihin ng mga taong involved at dapat na managot sa batas.
Kapatid Amy Atienza, we are One News.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee will move to summon Zaldy Co immediately upon his return to the Philippines. Committee Chairman Ping Lacson told our sister program StoryCon it would be a big help if Zaldy Co cooperates with their investigation into the flood control scam, since he allegedly served as the architect behind the insertion of funds for flood control projects. Co may also be able to help identify other officials involved. Alongside Co, Orly Gutieza and former soldiers who claim to have delivered 805 billion pesos in alleged kickbacks from infrastructure projects will also be invited to the hearing. Lacson hopes when they all face the Senate together, it will become clearer who is telling the truth and who is lying. Lacson added the panel will continue inviting witnesses after filing its partial committee report.
Pwede silang pagsabay-sabay yung tatlong grupo na yon, Zaldy Co, Gutesa, at saka ng ex-soldier sa isang pagdinig para magkakomprontahan na, magkaalaman kung sino talaga nagsasabi ng totoo. Kailangan i-confront siya ng mga magtatanong. Kung wala siya rito, paano siya tatanungin kung ba sa affidavit lang ang sinadala niya? On the other hand, Facebook post yung kanyang ginawa, nag-video message siya, walang value yon, walang evidentiary value whatsoever kasi nga self-serving yon.
Out of the 9 signatures he needs for the report to be submitted to plenary, Lacson says he already has 6, and so he just needs 3 more. As of this week, 2 more signed on, Senate President Tito Soto and Blue Ribbon Vice Chair Erwin Tulfo, to add to Risa Ontiveros, Bam Aquino, and Kiko Pangilinan. Although the report seems to have stalled due to a lack of support, Lacson says he is confident he and Soto will get the 3 more.
I-resume ko lang yung hearing kung even simultaneously, may report out ko na o may sponsor ko na yung partial committee report by way of 9 signatures. Confident naman ako kasi sa ngayon, 6 na kami nakapirma doon. Kaya ako confident na makakabuo kami ng at least 9. Kasi pumasok na si Senate President Soto. Sabi niya sa akin, tutulungan na lang kita kasi alam ko nahihiya ka makiusap sa mga kasamahan natin. Ako na makikiusap sa kanila na kung pwede pumirma naman sila.
Bicol party list Congressman Alfredo Garbin Jr. believes Zaldy Co has a lot more to reveal when he is finally brought home. Garbin is, of course, Co's former party list co-nominee, and he joins us tonight to discuss this. Welcome back to the Big Story, Congressman Garbin.
Good evening, Reina, Shawn, and Pauline. Magandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi, sir. First things first, your reaction to Zaldy Co being arrested in Prague.
To tell you honestly, wala akong reliable or concrete information where he is, kung saan siya nakadetain ngayon, and what grounds was the detention for, and kung paano siya nahuli. So, but as I've said, if nahuli siya at may uuwi siya sa Pilipinas, I am sure that he can speak freely with all the according to what the testimonies he released based on the videos. And yun ay siguro paninindigan niya pag uwi niya dito at marami pa siyang maisisiwalat. Yun ang aking pananaw dyan, Regina.
So I guess this also took you, the arrest also took you by surprise. When was the last time you spoke to him?
Matagal na po, bago pa siya pumuntang Europa, when I tendered his resignation, that was I think September of 2025. And when the full-blown trial started and kung nang nasa Europa na siya, naputol na po yung aming communication because wala na siyang yung lahat ng registered phone number niya ay yun ay give up niya na.
No, we also heard about that from his lawyer, si Attorney Rui. Yes, you're absolutely correct. We spoke to you about this before a few months ago when you said last kayo nag-usap was, I think he was still in the US, right? Before he moved to Europe because he left the country. Yeah.
August. I think he left the country
Yes,
August.
August. Tapos na-file
And then,
sa Congress in September.
and then yes, tama po. Oo.
At that time, when we first interviewed you about this, Congressman Garbin, you said it was a sacrifice on Co's part to have given up his post, even despite the absence of a court order ordering him to do so. And he also pushed back on Mayor Benjamin Magalong, saying that Co was the behind all of these anomalies, the flood control issue. But fast forward a few months later, Zaldy Co himself put out a video admitting that he was partly responsible for the insertions. And I wanted to ask you if that has changed your opinion of him and his role in all of this.
Well, nangyari na po ang lahat. Marami ng pinagkisiwalat. Ang pinaka-importante po dito ay makuha natin yung buong katotohanan. Kung may uuwi naman po siya, I would say that kung ano yung mga kanyang sinabi in the series of videos that he released, kanyang paninindigan niya, siguro may dadagdag pa. That I can say.
Congressman Garbin, I just wanted to get a sense, no, dun sa Ako Bicol, of course, you're both Bicolanos. You have been in this party list with him on and off for the past how many congresses na. Ano po ba yung nature ng relationship nyo? And as far as you know, do you believe he really has a Portuguese passport, or was it just permanent residency? Because it was never really clear.
Alam mo, si Zaldy was one of the founder of Ako Bicol. But his status right now is he resigned from the party, and we removed him also as a part of the board of directors. Now, as to the Portuguese passport, parang kwentong kutsero dahil kung meron siyang Portuguese passport, di sana hindi siya na-detain. If the detention, the grounds of detention is due to lack of official documents such as passport. So this is just an incident that would belie the insinuation na he was a holder of passport 10 years ago, since 10 years ago. So sa tingin ko para sa akin po, bilang isang abogado,
Sir,
parang walang katotohanan.
DILG says hindi lang daw niya dala yung passport.
Ako naman, hindi ko alam, baka may communication siya kay Kong Zaldy about this one, but I cannot confirm those underlying circumstances, whether hindi niya dala yung passport. But you know what? The easiest way is we have a Portuguese embassy that could say right away whether Zaldy applied for the same. And talagang totoo nga, holder siya ng passport. I think the easiest way is for the Portuguese embassy here in the Philippines to state to that effect whether Zaldy is a holder or not.
And Congressman, given that we don't have an extradition treaty with Czech Republic, do you foresee that there will be any legal challenges in bringing back former Congressman Zaldy Co here to the Philippines?
Sa tingin ko po ang ating gobyerno, kung if they're serious, will exert all the effort to bring him to go home. Tayo naman mga kababayan nating Pilipino, nag-aantay rin ng buong katotohanan para matuldukan itong flood control controversy na ito. So whether by deportations or closely coordinating with the Czech government just to bring Kong Zaldy. Ang atin lang po ay talagang maisiwalat yung katotohanan sa kanyang pag-uwi dito sa ating bayan.
And earlier this year, Congressman, there were actually reports that Congressman Zaldy Co, ex-Congressman Zaldy Co, was sending feelers through priests and intermediaries. Was that a sign na willing po siya mag-cooperate at bumalik? What do you know of those negotiations?
I don't have any personal knowledge. What I get official statement of Kong Zaldy. The only source is Attorney Rui Rundain. Kaya kung may naririnig kayo na may feelers which are being coordinated by the members of the Catholic priesthood, pinasinungalingan po yan ni Attorney Rui Rundain. Wala hong ganon. So ako lang ho ay nagre-rely kung meron naman hong gustong sabihin si Kong Zaldy, yan ho ay manggagaling kay Attorney Rui Rundain, his official counsel.
And I know you've gotten a flurry of text messages from a lot of news agencies, Congressman, since last night. And it would appear, reading all the reports, that you sent them back the same statement and the same answers. And one part of that is, I'm going to read it out. Given our political climate, sana kung maiuwi siya, he can speak freely without any censure from the administration. Can you elaborate on what you mean? Do you think this is a good time for him to be brought home?
Alam niyo po, si Kong Zaldy, aside from facing so many cases, has a pending warrant of arrest. And sigurado po, diretso yan, after a physical and medical examination, kung may uwi naman, diretso yan sa kulungan. Kasi non-bailable po yung kanyang kaso. So yun lang naman po ang aming hinihingi sa paghahangad ng katotohanan ay makapagsalita siya ng freely, without any coercion. And of course, security and safety must be provided if we are, after all, for the truth and for, resolution of this flood control controversy.
Because one of the reasons also Congressman Zaldy cited before in refusing to come back home was that nakatanggap daw po siya ng death threats. Would you know, Kong, kung ano ba yung nature ng death threats na ito at nakatanggap pa rin po ba si Kong Zaldy ng mga ganon?
Yan po ay hindi kami nag-usap ng ganyan, but base sa kanyang statement, hindi lang sa matataas na tao siguro, that's what I get from his statement. But syempre, sa taong bayan na rin. He was once upon a time the most hated person in our country. And so natatakot rin siyang umuwi because he was already judged And alam nyo naman, ang social media, kung ano yung nababasa ay at sa kanyang paghuhusga, doon siya, yun ang kinakatakot niya kasi baka yung galit ng taon bayan magresulta sa isang violence na yun ang kanyang kinakatakot.
You correctly pointed out that everyone is eagerly awaiting his full testimony, not least those of us in the media who's been covering this issue. But in his, and I'm going to ask you the same thing that reporters asked President Marcos, which is, in his tell-all, is there anything that might implicate yung party list? And are you worried about any fallout over that?
Well, alam mo, I always maintain that guilt is personal. And if ever there's a liability and accountability, that is personal to that person. And alam mo, Regina, Shawn, and Pauline, the party list is separate and distinct from its nominee. And it was not used as a tool to commit this in participating with this controversy. So on my part, I was not even part of Congress in 2019. Ako'y mayor po noon eh. Kakabalik ko lang ngayon po sa Kongreso. So handa naman kaming sumagot po, but if you'll ask me, and then I still maintain that I always say that guilt is personal, and if ever there is liable, and that is a personal liability of that person.
Siguro the question lang din came about, Congressman, because lumabas dun sa mga reports, dun sa flood control, sa kasagsagan ng flood control mess, that a lot of funds, or insertions rather, were actually coursed through yung kung ano-anong mga party lists that are associated with him and some of his family members din. But as far as you know, like you said,
The party wasn't used to funnel some of these funds.
Well, it's Congress who approve the budget, but the one who execute the same is the executive department through in the infrastructure arm, which is the Department of Public Works and Highways. So, kaya nga, sinasabi ko, sa tingin ko sa pagbabalik ni Kong Zaldy, ang isisiwalat niya, hindi lang yung the manner in which the budget was approved in his official capacity as the chair of the Committee on Appropriation, pati na rin yung mga membro ng kabinete na nakadil niya at kung ano ang mga kanilang pinag-usapan. And that's what I surmise na magiging part ng isisiwalat niya kung sakaling mapapagbigyan siya magsalita.
In your view, the issues that led to this corruption in the 2025 budget, have they been fixed?
Can you say it again?
Yung issues that brought about this massive corruption scandal in the 2025 GAA, or before the GAA, but have the issues been fixed? Meaning, are we now certain that there will be no similar large-scale corruption scandals in the future?
Well, we cannot ensure or say that it has been fixed already because of these revelations of flood control. What we are saying here is that I think all the agencies should properly observe how programs and projects are being implemented to the letters of the law, the bidding process. Pati na rin yung Kongreso should continue to exercise its oversight powers to see to it that the budget is properly implemented.
Yeah. No, sir, that's what I meant on the part of Congress, because of course you are you have the power of the purse. So on the part of Congress, naayos na ba yung mga issues that led to this, the largest corruption in the history of the Philippines?
Well, sa tingin ko maganda yung budget na naipasa 2026 at nawala na yung mga sinasabing insertions that leads to this corruption, especially this flood control controversy. So, yun ang na-fix po, yung mga insertion.
Okay, we'll leave that there. We've run out of time, but thanks so much for talking to us. Ako, Bicol Party List Congressman Alfredo Garbin Jr. Salamat, sir.
You're still watching the Big Story on One News. Coming up, we lay down a timeline of events leading up to Zaldy Co's arrest in Prague. We also bring you more reactions to the capture and what we can expect after that. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on One News. Circling back to our top story, Zaldy Co arrested in Prague. Now, Filipino authorities are yet to disclose how legally they will bring him back to the country, but already his former colleagues in Congress are lauding his arrest. For House Speaker Boji D, he says, quote, "It sends a clear message that those who attempt to evade the law will be held to account," unquote. For ML Party List Congresswoman Laila De Lima, she says, quote, "With the arrest of Zaldy Co, the Philippine government should waste no time in fast-tracking his deportation, as well as the investigation on all the anomalies that he was charged with." Akbayan Party List Representative Chel Diokno calls Zaldy Co's arrest a welcome development and a chance for him to answer allegations against him on the 2025 budget and flood control scandal. In a collective statement, the Makabayan Bloc, meanwhile, said, quote, "Co's repatriation will also make it possible for him to testify under oath on his previous revelations regarding the role of President Bongbong Marcos Jr. and other high officials in a corruption network that enabled massive budget insertions and anomalous infrastructure allocations." Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Senator Ping Lacson earlier told us that Co will be summoned to their hearing as soon as is possible. But on the part of the lower house, the Infrastructure Committee is no longer planning to reopen its hearings. Recall that the said committee concluded its investigation on September 2025 to give way to the investigation of the then newly formed Independent Commission for Infrastructure, which has since shut down. They also said back then that it's a move toward a more impartial probe, especially as high-ranking House members became central targets of the allegations.
Kasi nga, even if we resume, kumbaga halimbawa, kahit sabihin halimbawa natin na, hindi, walang takipan dito, na we will be fair and that we will be objective, lagi hong may magsasabi na, hindi yan totoo, dahil magkakasama kayo dyan. Hindi ba? So, mas mabuti na ho siguro yung iwan namin sa isang non-house body. Ito pong talagang pag-prosecute to the very end. Nito pong lahat na mga involved sa flood control corruption.
By now, Zaldy Co is a household name here in the Philippines, and everyone knows that he is being linked to the massive flood control scandal. But how did he become one of the country's most wanted fugitives? Here's a timeline of key events leading up to his arrest.
I move to declare vacant the position of Chairperson of the Committee on Appropriations.
The Chair hears no objection. Said motion is carried.
This move surprised everyone just as the lower house resumed session in January last year. That time, then ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldy Co chaired the Committee on Appropriations. Recall that he was one of the defenders of the Ayuda sa Kapos ang Kita program, or AKAP, and was part of the Bicameral Conference Committee that approved the controversial final version of the 2025 national budget. Back then, Co explained he had to resign from the committee due to health concerns. But President Bongbong Marcos blew the lid on a scandal tied to Co in his State of the Nation address that year.
Mahiya naman kayo sa inyong kapwa Pilipino. Mahiya naman kayo sa mga kabahayan nating naanod o nalubog sa mga pagbaha. Mahiya naman kayo lalo sa mga anak natin na magmamana sa mga utang na ginawa ninyo nang binulsan nyo lang ang pera.
He ordered a multi-agency effort to investigate and file cases against those who corrupted flood control projects, which ran into tens of billions of pesos. When the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee stepped in, it became apparent that there are indeed flood control projects that were either ghost or did not follow contractual specifications. And just as the Senate hearings began, Zaldy Co left the Philippines for the U.S. on August 25th, which the House only confirmed on September 4, 2025, with the reason being allegedly for medical treatment. Also in September, this bombshell testimony from dismissed Public Works District Engineer Henry Alcantara pinned Co to the flood control issue.
Ang pera na nakalaan para kay Kong Zaldy dinadala sa akin. Ako naman po ang nagdadala o naghahatid na hinihinging porsyento ng Kong Zaldy sa iba't ibang tao niya.
Also in September, Orly Guteza, alleged former security escort of Co, suddenly appeared at a Senate hearing to testify that his boss had indeed received and facilitated huge monetary deliveries.
Bawat malita ay may lamang humigit kumulang 48 million pesos. Ang bawat malita ay may push-it na nakadikit na nakasaad kung magkano ang laman.
By then, House Speaker Boji D already revoked Co's travel authority and ordered him to return to the country within 10 days. But on the 10th day, Co resigned from the lower house via letter sent from abroad. In November 2025, the Sandigan Bayan officially released an arrest warrant against Co, along with 15 officials of the DPWH and his company, SunWest, for graft and malversation of public funds over the anomalous 289.5 million flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. But then, Co retaliated through a series of videos he uploaded on Facebook where he pointed back at the president as the mastermind behind project insertions.
Tinawagan ko po si dating Speaker Martin Romualdez at nireport ko ang instructions ng Presidente to insert the 100 billion projects. At sinabi niya sa akin, what the President wants, he gets.
Malacanang had repeatedly denied all his allegations. In December 2025, the DFA officially canceled Co's Philippine passport, though it was later revealed he was using a Portuguese golden visa or passport to move around Europe. In January 2026, while authorities tracked him to Lisbon, Portugal, Co allegedly sent feelers to negotiate terms for his return through various priests and intermediaries. In February 2026, the Sandigan Bayan officially labeled him a fugitive from justice, noting that his failure to return and surrender after being charged proved intent to evade the law. And on April 16th, Co was finally arrested in Prague, Czech Republic, after he was denied entry into Germany for lacking proper documentation.
And now in other news, the House Committee on Justice is now examining the ties that bind between Vice President Sara Duterte, her alleged bagman Remulla Madriaga, and two key personalities. Panel member Terry Redon says Facebook posts from ISIP Pilipinas show that Madriaga, former VP, spokesman Reynold Munsayak, and Assistant Special Prosecutor Ryan Kilala all know each other. This seems to contradict Duterte's claim that neither of them have any connection with each other. For instance, ISIP Pilipinas, which Madriaga formed in 2020 to support Duterte's presidential campaign, supported Act as One party list, where Munsayak stood as first nominee. Redon argued if Madriaga and Munsayak had no ties, why would ISIP Pilipinas promote Act as One party list? He also questioned why a political page connected to Duterte's campaign would support a group out of the blue. Then there's Madriaga and Kilala. Redon pointed out that it was Kilala who gave the certificate of appreciation from ISIP Pilipinas to Munsayak at a bar in Quezon City. It was at this bar where the duffel bags emerged. And as for Congressman Joel Chua, he says Duterte may have committed an election offense if it turns out she received campaign donations from Chinese nationals linked to Farmally. Farmally got embroiled in a scandal during the pandemic for allegedly supplying overpriced medical supplies. And meantime, Senate President pro tempore Ping Lacson responded sharply to Attorney Salvador Panelo, saying that only 4 senators will convict Duterte if the trial goes to Senate. In an interview with Storycon, Lacson lashed out at the former presidential spokesperson.
Bakit marunong pa siya sa amin? Ako, walang pwede magsalita on my behalf. I can speak for myself, except the evidence. Sinabi ko na yan we'll always be guided by the evidence. Wala pa tayo doon. Bakit pinangungunahan niya at tatawagin pa niya kaming pusakal? Huwag niya kaming pangunahan kasi yun ang talagang complete nonsense. Yung sasabihin mong apat yung sigurado magko-convict. Hindi lang sa pusakal, ungas siya, ungas.
Let's hash this out further. Tonight, we've got Congressman Benny Abante, chair of the House Committee on Human Rights and the lead endorser of the 4th complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. Good evening, Congressman Abante. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Rina. Good evening, Pauline and Shawn. Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat.
I know you guested on one of our other shows recently, then Kong Abante, so I'm not going to dwell on those same questions, but I want to move the story forward. One of the things I want to ask you is some of your colleagues in the lower house say that probable cause for the impeachment has been established, katulad ng, for example, si Congressman Ridon. Do you agree?
Yeah, we only need one, actually, probable cause. We do not need probable cause for all of those that have been charged against the Vice President. Yes.
Ano po yung charge that probable cause has already been established for?
Well, I've said, I think in the fourth impeachment complaint, I already said that Ramil Madriaga's testimony, if true, can be a smoking gun, no? Because he has revealed something that has not been revealed before. See, ngayon lang yan. Kaya I believe that Ramil Madriaga's testimony, especially now that he made a supplemental affidavit that actually supplemented his first affidavit, is actually something that the Vice President now should really answer.
So to be clear, yung charge that you're talking about is misuse of confidential funds.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Because look, for example, Madriaga mentioned some names like Karen Nolasco, like Ryan Monseya, like Kilala of the Ombudsman, like Colonel Chica. These four people, and Gina Acosta, these five people actually have transferred money or received money or have been given money for that matter. You see that? I mean, I even suggested to the committee that we should call on these persons that have been revealed to us by Madriaga so that we could be able to really find from them the truth. No, if indeed Ramil Madriaga is telling the truth about them.
However, I think these names, no, at least to me and a lot of people watching, Congressman, these names first came to light doon po sa Quadcom hearing, no, in the previous Congress.
Yes.
Where, correct. Oo. So,
Yes, but we were not able to actually invite them or even subpoena them. I think there was only one guy that we actually subpoenaed. But then we see here how Madriaga revealed these names once more, especially, for example, right, Monsaya, who just I heard tonight is the first nominee of a party list. No, we did not even call him, and Kilala, we didn't even call him. I think we just called Nolasco or La Chica for that matter. So that's one, no? That's one. And then secondly, the bank accounts that he mentioned those bank accounts. And then thirdly, he made a waiver, no, on an oath that he is waiving all the bank secrecy account and he's opening it up to all, you see. And of course, the PSA also made a statement that they do not have any record of Mary Piatos and a certain Kokoy and another person, no? Therefore, sabi ko nga, it would be impossible even to look for them because the PSA does not keep any record for them.
But I guess Shawn's point was that these names have already come up during the Quadcom hearings, and therefore it's nothing new that Madriaga said. And there are also some parts of his testimony that the other side is questioning. In fact, we spoke to Attorney Sal Panelo yesterday, and he said that all of what Madriaga said during the hearings was all kasinungalingan, they're all lies, and that there is no hard evidence.
Well, of course, the Vice President said that in a press conference or in a major forum. We would like her to appear to the committee under oath to tell us and explain to us all of the allegations. That is just what we want.
Well, Congressman, the other side, no, a lot of critics of the impeachment are also pointing out a lot of seeming inconsistencies and holes with the supplemental affidavit made by Ramil Madriaga. Yung land bank checks, nandyan yung painting, at kung ano-ano pa. You don't think that, the contents of the supplemental affidavit actually only serve to muddle the issues even more?
We might not be able to accept all of the affidavit and even supplemental affidavit that Madriaga under oath actually said, no? But certainly, it is now up to the Vice President to answer all those allegations. We are not there to convict her. We are not there to actually tell her that she is guilty. We are just there to find out the evidences for that matter. And I believe that the Vice President would be able to really help us a lot by explaining to us all the allegations and let all of the congressmen decide what they really want to decide.
So as far as you're concerned, Congressman, probable cause has already been established as far as the misuse of confidential funds is concerned. But let's go to the fourth complaint, which you are the lead endorser of. And that focuses heavily on SALN, the non-disclosure and disproportionate wealth, or yung ill-gotten wealth. And financial documents have already been subpoenaed. You will be tackling this in your next hearing. But tell us, Kong, what would you consider as strong and damning evidence as well in order to establish probable cause here?
Well, I think the SALN would be another point of probable cause. I think that if we're able to get all of the bank accounts of the Vice President, to be able to find out that she actually did not reveal all of her wealth in the SALN. You know for a fact that the former Chief Justice Corona was just convicted by the Senate only on one point, and that is the SALN. So naniniwala ako that the SALN is another point in which there might be probable cause on the Vice President.
And former Senator Antonio Trillanes is also set to appear in the next hearing. Ano po yung inaasahan nyo sa kanyang pagharap?
Well, nabanggit din naman na merong i-reveal si Trillanes that we do not even know. We still do not know what he's going to reveal at because we did not even talk to him. No, we did not even meet with him. So ipapatawag namin siya because he made a statement in the media that there is something that he's going to reveal. So we're waiting on that.
Medyo, you're calling him over something that we have no idea what exactly he's going to reveal, right? Do you think that actually inspires confidence in the whole process?
He was saying that he's going to reveal something that has not been known before. He's going to reveal something that is damaging to the Vice President. So we would like to find out what is that.
Congressman Abante, what happens if you're not able to get a hold of the Vice President's financial records? Because I know you guys at the Justice Committee think it's a clear-cut exception to the bank secrecy law, but I've been talking to some sources in the banking industry, and the truth is they're quite hesitant about handing over their records because this part of the process is new. Itong hearing to determine probable cause, that was a result of the Supreme Court decision, yes. But because it's new, they don't think it's the way it was put to me was if the Senate is the one that asks for the records, that's clear. That's clearly part of the impeachment process. But if the lower house, parang hindi sila sigurado.
I think that's one reason why they went to the Supreme Court to stop the impeachment proceeding of the Committee on Justice. No, if they're able to get a TRO out of that, of course, titigilan namin yan. And then we find Manscapio going to the RTC, also asking for TRO not to be able to open the bank account of their law office. So what is the meaning of that? See? Now, if the Supreme Court will not issue us a TRO, then the impeachment proceeding will continue on the 22nd.
But my point being, if you don't get a hold of the financial records, if this, gets challenged legally, do you think you'll still be able to determine probable cause?
That is why we are calling on the AMLAC on the issue.
And if you say that probable cause is there's already enough probable cause right now, is there really any more reason to hold 2 more hearings? Because a lot of critics, again, are saying, I'll just present the other side here, na parang it's, public persecution, etc., etc. I'm sure you've heard the arguments, Congressman.
Well, they might be saying that all the while, but they must remember that it is the mandate given by the Constitution to the Congress, no? And so we just have to be faithful to the mandate given to us, whether it be that they will say it's a mini trial or persecution, whatever it is. I think that they should actually know the proceeding of the impeachment, that they should listen to it with an objective mind, that rather than politics, rather than trying to be loyal to a person when they ought to be loyal to the Constitution, actually.
Yeah. And on that note, last question, Congressman Abante, your reaction to Attorney Sal Panelo saying that this is all premeditated, that for sure Congress will transmit this case to the Senate, sigurado daw yan, but at the Senate, only 4 senators will convict her, meaning his point being this is all part of that she's being politicized.
Well, Attorney Panelo has the right to say anything he wants to say. Anyway, ang ano ko lang who really would like to believe that, except those that actually, support him, you see.
Okay. We'll leave that there. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight, Congressman Benny Abante.
In the meantime, we are pausing for another breather, but right after that, President Marcos brings good news to vegetable farmers in Benguet who were hit by the oil crisis. The details when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on The Big Story. President Marcos visited Benguet farmers today as the global oil crisis disrupts deliveries of upland vegetables. While visiting the La Trinidad Vegetable Trading Post and Benguet Agri-Pinoy Trading Center, Marcos announced a series of measures to aid vegetable farmers. These include toll-free passage of trucks carrying Benguet vegetables, fuel subsidies for truck drivers, and free seeds and fertilizers for farmers. The president also bought 20 tons of vegetables to be distributed to select Metro Manila cities, prisons, orphanages, and the DSWD's Walang Gutom Kitchen.
Binaba natin ang presyo ng diesel ng 10 piso. Tapos yung mga charges ng mga local government, winave na muna. Tapos tinanggal na rin natin ang toll fee para sa mga truck na bumababa. Ito yung aming tulong para naman, unang-una, matiyak ang ating food supply. Pangalawa, matiyak na hindi masyadong mabigat ang nararamdaman ng ating mga farmer, ng ating mga producer, ng ating mga wholesaler.
For his part, Agriculture Secretary Kiko Tiu Laurel announced new facilities to help Benguet farmers in the long term. These include a new cold storage unit on top of an existing cold storage facility that will be rehabilitated for 6 months. A vegetable processing center is also in the works, equipped with dehydrators and freezing units to extend the shelf life of different produce.
Popondohan namin to this year para magtayo ng dehydrator, freezing plant. Kasi ang carrots pwede i-freeze Ang broccoli pwede i-freeze. Ang bell pepper pwede i-dehydrate and other products.
And most PUV drivers will only start work under the service contracting program on Monday. A total of 472 vehicles are qualified to begin next week, according to the latest statistics from the LTFRB. No breakdown has been given, but most of them are modern PUVs. The LTFRB has already received 4,632 vehicle applications managed by 1,672 operators. Most of the applications are made up of modern PUVs and UV Express units. Some operators are hesitant to join the program over fear of GPS use to monitor their trips. The LTFRB has since removed that mechanism and instead will be monitoring trips using QR codes. At an orientation this morning, the agency demonstrated to drivers how the QR code system will work. Participants are paid on a fixed per-kilometer rate regardless of passenger load. Cooperatives that already joined the program during the pandemic say this will be of great help amid the oil crisis.
Sitwasyon po ng mga tsuper ngayon sa buong Pilipinas, napakahirap po sa aming lahat ang taas ng diesel na dinadanas. Kaya po napakagandang oportunidad itong binuksan ng DOTR, ng LTFRB na mag-pilot dry run testing sa mga modern unit na nag-comply sa modernization.
Yung kita namin, hati-hati na lang kami ng cooperative. Kasi sweldohan kami. Pero ang problema, hindi naman naaabot na makakuha ng sweldo. Kasi napunta lang sa diesel.
Meantime, the LTFRB has also announced that the 20% discount for passengers will only take effect on Monday, April 20.
Gusto natin ma-avail ng ating mas maraming pasahero yung 20% discount. And alam naman po natin, ending Friday kasi kayo, di ba? Sabado na, linggo. So mag-i-stop bigla. So mas mag-start na lang natin ng Monday.
And finally, for our big picture tonight, a brand new platform to watch your favorite Signal programs. Signal teams up with Samsung to expand access to local entertainment content. Samsung mobile devices and television sets can now access programming from Signal TV, Signal Play, Pilipinas Live, and Signal Super. Samsung Philippines President Roman Han says this partnership enables users to have access to homegrown content through its device network, while MediaQuest CEO Ricky Vargas says this demonstrates Signal's push to expand across multiple platforms.
Time to switch your TVs to a Samsung.
Hindi pa ba?
Actually, oo na.
Oo na.
So I have to download it. I have to download it somehow.
Oh, there's a lot more options.
Yes. Sports, news, whatever you want to watch.
Everything.
The big story.
The big story, exactly.
Sakto, it's the weekend. Yan. Talaga, news pa rin.
Oh. For a change, there was a lot of good news today. Yeah, because it's been weeks of very bad news.
Especially during weekends.
Oh my. Yes. Okay. And on that note, that's it for the big story this week. Thank you so much for watching.
We are back here on Monday at 8 p.m. We'll see you again.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night and a great weekend.